Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 162 for September 1st, 2015. Can't believe we're already in September already. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and host of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Burned-1, the special guest coordinator, and this week the editor.
Are you?
Yeah,
You
why
could
not?
be. Okay. Well, I'm Flutterguy317, and I'm the media manager for the podcast.
And I'm at Spark. I'm questions and DeviantArt and all sorts of stuff that's not editing or hosting.
I like the fact that we've gotten to a point now where we're deciding who edits, like, in episode.
Yeah.
Like, I'm editing this week. Okay, sure.
Go ahead, you can take it.
Well, it's like, it's not that, like, I want or anything, but we're both going to be gone next week, so it's just like, you had your turn, it's my turn, and we're both not going to do it next week.
It's true.
Because I'm going to be at EQLA.
Ooh, that's a good talking point.
Yeah.
Pretty
Nice.
excited for that. I'm also...
We don't have any time for it, though. It's not in our slot.
Forget you. But I've been trying to get a hold of White Diamonds, too. Remember how she said she would go to EQLA? But heck if I know how to get in contact with her.
Yeah, she's going to EQLA, and so is Dave, isn't he?
Well, I don't know if White Diamond's going to EQLA. Is she going to EQLA?
I don't know.
She said
but
she
yeah.
would be.
Dave has a table. So
Yeah.
the customer is going to be at EQLA.
You should talk to Dave about it. I'm sure he knows.
I
Or
will.
talk to Nazagoran.
Is Nazagoran going to EQLA?
She knows how to get in contact with White Diamonds.
Oh.
Is she now?
Okay.
I know Harwicks and White Diamonds are on a text basis.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're super friends. Anyways, that's cool. So yeah, I guess that's by the time that this comes out, that's next weekend, right? The weekend of Labor Day.
Yeah.
Or no? Wait, what?
Yeah.
How is this next week then?
Huh?
Oh, because next week is Labor Day. That's right. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You just said that.
School's coming up so quickly.
I know, right?
Literally just said that and then said, what?
Okay, so speaking of school coming up and like time moving too quickly, today was my last day at EA for my co-op, so that's all over now, and I'm going back to school, so that's fun.
Nice.
School
packing
starts
up
on
tomorrow,
Wednesday,
right?
which means that the day after this comes out, I'm back at school. So I have my last day today. On Sunday, which will have passed by the time this came out, I'm moving back to Ottawa, and then I'm going back to school on the Wednesday. So like this has been like a crazy week for me.
Cray.
Yeah.
I guess it's not a talking point, but it's about school. Make up another random talking point. But I also started a new semester at a new university, and it's been going really well. Just
Yay.
throwing that out there. Been kind of
Yay.
excited for it. Going
You
to
guys in the
WS
States started such a weird time.
Yeah, well, this university in particular starts at kind of a weird time. But I'm going to WSU, which is like a tier 1 college and university in the U.S., and it's so ridiculously different. I went from like a community college in the middle of like downtown Vancouver and to going to like this extremely nice campus that you have to like go to. And like,
You're all starting school at a weird time. Just by the way.
Are you doing like full time or
Yeah,
part time?
I get financial aid through the government or federal financial aid, whatever it is, FAFSA. So I have to be a full-time student. So I'm taking 12 credits.
Wow. Well, there you go, Burned.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. But it's been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, no, it's school's fun, and then it's like meh for a little bit
Yeah,
with
well,
the full
like,
course load.
community college was meh for me because some of the classes, like, it's community college. You paid to be here. Where in, like, university, like, had to apply to be there, you know?
Right.
And so, like, my classes end up being kind of cool because it's, like, I'm taking, like, video narration, animation, web development, and then, like, intro to digital technology and culture 101. Which is like, that's all these crazy like technology classes that I've never been in before. And it's just like, in my web development class, he's like, by next week, I expect you to know the basics of HTML and CSS. See you next week. It's like, what?
Yep.
Nice.
Welcome University, Burned.
Yeah.
Code Academy's a thing I have to do.
And I guess-
Code Academy is good.
I guess this must be like first year for you, right?
Yeah.
Like these are all
it's
first year
technically
courses.
a junior year, so I skipped all my prerequisites because I had a transfer from community college, but it's
Oh,
first
okay.
year for all of this technology stuff. But it's technically like third year, so I got thrown into third year, first year technology. Kind of weird.
Nice.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, because I'm taking upper degree classes, like 300 level courses, but yet it's the first time in this university, and I've never touched any kind of digital technology stuff before now, so it's like, ugh.
Right. Well, the reason why I was saying that is because I'm not sure if you'll have the same phenomenon as me, but I took a year off after high school, and I also took a year off this last year. It's not really a year off because I was doing co-op for the last 16 months, right? Yeah. But, it was still kind of like a year off in terms of schooling. So I'm going to be going back, and that means I'm 2 years older than the typical person who's going to be going through university, although there are a lot of atypical people. But I'm also taking a first-year course in linguistics. So I'm going to be 4 years older than the people who are in that class.
Yeah.
Which is going to be so weird. Like basically to me or to them, should have already graduated and I'm going to be in their class.
In all of my classes, everyone's kind of 18 to 30. There's a good average in between there because my degree is very broad, digital technology and culture. So
yeah, and I think universities have a wide range of ages in general. It's not like high school where everybody's the same age, and if you're not, you're some sort of weirdo, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. It'll be interesting. Anyways, we're all starting school. I hope everybody else who's starting school is doing well, and good luck to anybody else who hasn't yet.
Good luck
Joel.
Semester.
Hey Joel,
Thanks,
let's start
guys.
school.
Yeah, we should start school.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you guys not remembered what school was like? It's fun and it's cool to learn new things, but it's also difficult.
Yeah.
And your time is not your own.
School is cool, right, guy?
Right? Yeah.
I genuinely think university so far I've thoroughly enjoyed because I've been taught really awesome things.
Readers are leaders.
I've never heard that one before.
That was
Wow.
a special order from our library.
Wow. So I wanted to bring up another talking point, specifically because it relates to art. So this last week, I was introduced and coerced to watch an anime called Madoka Magica.
Woo!
I don't know what the actual full name is because it's got some,
Madoka Magica.
it's got other stuff in there anyways. But the gist of it is it's Madoka Magica, which is a TV show that's to those of you out there who don't know what the TV show is about, it's kind of like Sailor Moon and
Little Girls
Tokyo
and Dreams.
So Sailor Moon and Tokyo Mew Mew are in this genre called the magical girl genre of anime.
Yeah.
And
Magical
Madoka
Girls
Magica
Unite.
is kind of like that, but also incredibly dark. So it's not like a parody of the genre, but it plays with the
I would like
genre.
to point out that My Little Pony sort of falls under a subgenre of that. Magical little girl ponies.
Yeah. Although heavily westernized.
And horses.
Yeah.
Madoka deconstructs the magical girl genre, basically.
Right. And
It
it's
takes it
it's
and pulls it
really
apart.
dark.
Uh-huh. It's
So
good.
if you're walking into it expecting romance and stuff
And
like that, then
some
it's
girl's
not.
head gets bitten off. I'm like, what's going on?
No,
Yeah,
you spoiled it.
No, he
don't
didn't.
believe that.
There's no spoilers. There
Lots
was
of
no
girls
spoilers
die.
in that. I legitimately am the spoiler king for preventing spoilers. There was no spoilers in that. Someone dies. Someone in the show at some point dies. So that's what we mean. That's what we mean by it's a deconstruction.
Spoilers,
It's
people
it's dark.
die.
Yeah.
In the magical girl genre, usually it's not dark at all, right? But it's a dark
Spoilers,
take on it.
Someone's feelings got hurt with magic. No.
Yes, someone's feelings do get hurt. There's crying involved, mostly for me.
That's awesome, though.
So the reason why I wanted to bring it up is for people who haven't seen the show. It reminded me of some of the stuff that we talked in the show because the villains in the show are called witches, and they all have their own kind of worlds that they live in. And the magical girls have to go to those worlds in order to defeat them. And each one has its own unique art style, and it's all kind of weird and trippy and uses a lot of different animation methods, and it's super cool. I took a couple of screenshots, so whoever's editing this week, if you could put those up, that'd be great. And it was
on an art level, you really enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't expect to enjoy it on an artistic level, but the way that it kind of blended this anime animation style with all of these different genres was really really cool. So I picked 4 screenshots. None of them are spoilers.
Yeah.
So
It's changing too, which is real cool. It doesn't stick with one kind of weird, wonky art style. Kind of goes through them.
yeah, I think each witch will have a different art style, but each one of those art styles is like a combination of like 3 or 4 different things. It's super cool. If you're into kind of dark stuff and
if you're into really girly animes that are also really dark and have substance.
The thing that I enjoyed about Madoka was the fact that it was 12 episodes. So like it was planned, like the story was planned out really well. You know, it's not this big
Madoka
time
Magic
investment.
Is 12 episodes.
What?
Yeah, it's only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It's only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
I got like
Maybe I'll watch it.
one episode in and I was like, I don't know, this isn't for me. I don't want to invest 5 seasons, and it's 12 episodes. Now I have to go on.
You
Now I
haven't
feel
seen.
awful.
You can't just
So
stop after
bad.
the. Okay, so like
I watched the first
Wait, hold
episode
on.
and I was
Can
like,
I-
no, this isn't for
you
me.
have to
I-
watch at least the first 3, and if
Can
you
I-
don't get hooked by the first 3,
Ted-
then that's fine.
Ted, you're saying?
Oh my god. Thank you. So when I first started watching this, I noticed that it was very colorful, very artsy, and so I brought it to Bernd, and he watched one episode and was like, it's not for me. And I was like,
Well,
oh, come on, Bernd.
I didn't like the little girls. I didn't like the skirts. I didn't like the magic, and then I didn't like that weird magic-y cutscene with the weird psychedelic flower things. And like none of that caught my attention. And I'm not admittedly the biggest fan of animes,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I'm not gonna invest 5 seasons into this.
It's
But if
12
it's
episodes.
12
Yeah.
episodes, I could sit down for 12 episodes.
Yeah.
just
So
to
so
know what
like
it's about.
that was a big. You know, Joel was just saying, "Oh, it's only 12 episodes. I might actually watch that." That's my same mentality. Like, I want to.
I gotcha.
I want to watch more anime. I like the genre. I've liked what I've consumed, but I don't really know enough about it. And I don't know how to sit down and like actively like look for it. Right.
I feel like
so
I'd
I
be
go
a
to other
hypocrite
people
if I
for
didn't
recommendations. But the
watch it,
problem
yeah.
is, I don't want to watch 10 seasons, or I don't want to watch something
Yeah.
that's going to be super long. So like
Exactly.
that's why Madoka Magica, I was like, okay, I can do this because it's only 12 episodes. So if I end up enjoying it, then I'm not stuck watching it
if
for the
someone's
next
like,
4
you should
years.
watch Full Metal Alchemist, it's like 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
Right.
Fullmetal Alchemist is what, like 64 episodes or something
I
like
didn't
that?
Right.
that one
So
so
like
much.
that's intimidating.
I watched
didn't
I
like
like
Fullmetal
Fullmetal
Alchemist?
Yeah,
No.
Did you watch Brotherhood or the original?
the original.
Okay, I like
watch
Brotherhood a lot
Brotherhood.
better. It's basically the first half is pretty much the same, and then the second half I think is better. But it's all opinion. You could not like it because like I was saying, I didn't think I'd like Madoka Magica. What's funny though is I actually started watching another anime. I've been watching Yushimawa Pedal. I believe it's Yushimawa.
Oh,
something
yeah,
like
I've
that.
heard about it, and I
Hear
heard
that?
that I should watch it.
I heard about it through Flea Bites at BronyCon. And I started following her on Twitter, and she's been uploading like photos of like her biking, and then like a bunch of pictures of like the characters of the show. So she's like super big into it. And so I'm like, what is all this about? I gotta find out what Pedal is about, Yushima Pedal. And then so I've been watching that, and I got like 15 episodes in, which is like just about the same as Madoka Magica, and it's been really fun. But it's funny because it's about biking. It's an anime about like biking culture.
So it's called Yawamushi.
Yawamushi Pedal.
Pedal,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yawamushi Pedal.
Oh, I know about this because yesterday I was streaming with Vice. Well, on last Thursday, I was streaming with Vice, and he gave me a playlist of like on YouTube that he really likes, and one of the songs was from that. It's, like,
Yeah,
the
a
theme
lot
song.
of their random songs have been really good. Like their intro outro songs been pretty
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because it's literally like bike racing culture, you know, like bicycles, like stuff like Tour de France type of stuff. But yet it like dramatizes it in like stereotypical anime fashion, and it's like, oh, he's raised his pedaling speed by 30 RPM, like it's really funny. Like his cadence is so strong. It's been fun.
Anyways, I have to cut this off here because we do need to talk about art, and we're boring everybody who doesn't care about anime.
But what about Joel's face?
I did a dumb thing.
You have 1 minute.
Go.
I was in a shop. I bent over to pick something up, and there was a thing sticking at the shelf that I didn't see because I was right above it, and it hit me right in the eye, and it hurts, and it still hurts like 3 days later. Like I banged my
sorry.
face on it real hard, and I felt dumb. I like instantly stood up, looked around. Nobody saw that. I'm just gonna walk away slowly.
Nice.
A couple days ago, I was browsing Reddit on my phone really late at night in bed, and I dropped my phone and hit my face.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah. Yeah, you feel like an idiot when you do that.
I've a long time ago I dropped it once, and then it like went perfectly, and then like it hit me right in the throat. It was like hit me like right in my Adam's apple. It sucked.
Burned, you're an idiot.
Art,
Anyway.
guys.
Yeah,
All right.
Art.
So the very first art piece is from Bernd, so I will let him introduce it.
I'm first. It's been
Did
the
you make
first
this one,
little
Brad?
Yes, I did. This one is by me. I'll take all credit for this.
Oh, it's this one.
No,
Let me Google that.
this piece is called what? Question mark by Iridir. I don't know how to say that.
Erudier.
Eridier. But yeah, this is really pretty, and I like it, and it's Rainbow Dash, and she has like an alternative hairstyle, which I also really enjoy. It's not kind of like her go-to like show accurate pony hairstyle. It's kind of this little unique take on it, and I feel like it's painted really well, and color too. I feel is a very strong suit in this, and lighting, color, lighting, and then style.
I'll tell you
Three
exactly
things.
why you like this piece, Burned.
Go for
Because the
it.
face that Rainbow Dash is making looks very much like a Steven Universe face.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were gonna like take a stab, be like, oh, she's blushing and she's my waifu, and that also would have been like.
Well, no,
That's
Burn.
true.
You need
Also
to
accurate,
sit
but-
down and like take back those words because I believe she's my waifu.
Whoa.
I
So-
believe you both need to reevaluate your lives.
God, we need
Yeah,
girlfriends.
so- here, no.
Yeah, coming
I mean,
from you,
yes.
Joel. All right, sure.
Hey, Sunset Shimmer is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. Okay, so here's like Joel and I have this understanding that we share Sunset Shimmer as a waifu, and we've grown like a close bond because of that. So maybe you guys can get over your differences and share.
No, I
Rainbow
want
Dash as a
full
waifu.
on Japanese like anime style fight.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm trying not to like I was about to make like a Madoka Magica reference, but like I didn't. I just damn it. No spoilers.
There's jokes I want to make, but I'll
No spoilers.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to point that out because it reminded me, as soon as I looked at it, it reminded me of like a Steven Universe face. So I
can
was
see that.
wondering if you saw the same thing.
I didn't notice that. I noticed it's a very unique face. Like it's a very very unique take on kind of like how to draw the pony face, right? Because it's definitely
Especially
not
from the
show
front.
accurate, and it's rendered in like a very round way that isn't like go to like what you would normally see in the fandom. I'll use air quotes in that. So like her face is kind of, it's very flat yet still very rounded, and her nose is kind of has like little sleek parts for the nostrils, like little sleek little hole things, and it's also very like round and cute and buttony. You notice how it's shaded with just like a little bit of white there to highlight the nose. And then like the eyes aren't at like a very like sharp angle where they kind of do in the show with like the big sideways ovals. They're kind of like straight on. And then the ears too are kind of like these sideways, almost kind of reminds me of a bat ear a little bit. But,
Yeah.
But it's still, I think it doesn't look like too like bat ear. They don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like it's very open and broad, and it's very purple inside, and it can attract a lot of sound, I guess, because bat ponies need to be able to hear. I don't know.
Looks like a good steak.
Ear receptacle thing.
Radar
Cute ear,
dish.
but yeah, I definitely didn't see the Steven Universe thing, but I can see some similarities now that you say it, because Steven Universe likes to have big broad eyes. A lot of animation in Steven Universe and the art style relies on big like almost simplified, broad, and like rounded. So a lot of the characters and shapes in the show are kind of like simplified, soft, and like have round edges to some things. And so like the faces too, like eyes are very like big and ovally and sometimes like centered or whatever. But also the faces in Steven Universe change from story artist to story artist too.
Yeah, I mean,
Storyboard artist.
I enjoy this piece for the kind of facial expression, the emotion that it conveys. She's had this makeover done probably by Rarity, and she's looking at it and she's shocked.
Oh
and
my
I think,
god, it's a mirror.
Yeah. So like
Wow.
she's looking at it, right?
Just clicked.
And she's shocked. But I think the shocked look on her face and combined with the blush is like she's shocked at how good she looks. It's a very common trope in certain TV shows.
Like, oh, I'm so kawaii.
Right. Like she's looking at it and she like her shock is not necessarily like, oh man, I can't believe I look so different, but it's also like, oh, I can't believe I actually look good. Like I
look
can't
so
believe it.
beautiful.
It's a very anime trope.
Oh, you're beautiful.
So yeah, that's what really connects to me. I think it's done like the the expression and all the other stuff like that, the pose, it all kind of comes together and sends off a very strong emotional vibe in this piece. And I respect that when an artist can get an emotion so strongly and so well, you know?
Like, that's awesome because I'd seen the emotion there and like in the face, and like that's definitely been captured, but I didn't see the narrative going on where she's physically looking in this like golden framed mirror, and there's like a drape behind the mirror, and then she's looking at her own reflection while she's sitting in a chair, and so like possibly done from like a makeover or something like that, or she got her hair done or whatever. Yeah. I didn't notice that narrative before, and now I do, and now that is very awesome and adds another
that's
like,
extra cool
layer of depth, and yeah, so that's even cooler.
Yeah.
I feel like it would suck when you like jump in the air and flap your wings for the first time and it all just messes up. Just becomes a mess.
Hairspray, my friend, hairspray.
I didn't mind that musical.
Right. Also, pony hair is resistant to wind. Fun fact.
True.
Yeah,
But it never moves
that is
around,
true.
so it's fair.
Except for Fluttershy's for some reason. It's always getting blown around. It's her hair extensions.
Yeah.
Burned, any comments on Fluttershy's hair?
You know, long hair is just it's a burden that beautiful people have to live with.
It's true.
I
It's
see.
very true.
Yeah. So, what happened to yours?
Exactly.
Sad things.
he became unbeautiful. Sucks
See,
to be
burned.
you. I've still got mine.
Hey, jokes on you guys. I kept my hair.
Did you?
Yeah, joke's on us. You guys are freaks because I kept my hair.
I keep it in a box.
I thought you did.
No, my mother kept it in a wicker basket so she can show my children. True facts.
Why don't you donate it, you heartless person?
Because my children need to see my hair too. What if my children have
Do they?
cancer and they need a wig? Huh, Joel?
Do they?
Huh?
Wow.
I have no response to that.
That got real very quickly.
All right, glad we had this discussion about my hair.
Does anybody else have nice things to say about the art piece and not Burns' hair?
No.
I like it. It's pretty.
What, Burns' hair?
Oh, my hair? Thank you.
For God's sakes.
But why is it pretty, Ted? Why? Tell me.
Because it's kawaii desu.
The expression, the character, Raymond Ash is adorable.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go off of what Burns said, which is the colors in this piece are very vivid, especially in the top part of her hair. But it's not vivid throughout. You know, if you take a look at her tail, which is less detailed overall, which is another thing.
The background
but
too.
The colors are a little bit less vivid, but they're still very obviously red and orange and green, and I like the particular shades that this artist has used. It's a very nice kind of bold but not crazy vibrant color mix.
Like the color is real awesome, and like I mentioned the lighting, but also on the lighting there's like the magic word value too. So like those colors that are like not as vivid, they're like more desaturated, and they're actually a little bit darker, and so it creates a really strong contrast, I feel, between certain really bright parts, like the golden frame is like one of the most vivid spots, and then obviously the character like being spotlighted, illuminated. Like both of those stand out as a stark contrast to like the background right hand side, and then like the chair behind her, and then like the shadows on like the lower parts of her body and like her tail and wings.
May I also point out, you just mentioning the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of artists will go out of their way to be like, okay, here's my character, here's my scene, here's where my light source is, and then they meticulously draw every single shadow, and like it's really, really obvious. I feel like in this piece, like it's subtle, you know, like the shading is subtle, the lighting is soft, the shadows don't need to be this huge deal. They're there, you know, her wings at the front are darker, and the hair casts a shadow, and so does her chin. But I feel like it's all blended, and it's a lot more subtle than just like, look, the light's coming from the top, guys. Can you see that the light's coming from the top?
So there's a term for that, and it's like, I would say drasticness, like how drastically is it lighted, but it's also hard lighting versus diffused lighting. We've talked about that a little bit. So like the spotlight above her is a bit diffused on different parts of her body, so it's not so like harsh cell shading on like parts of her body. But I feel like there's still parts that do like very stand out. So like parts that I really enjoy where there is more like of a drastic lighting effect is like underneath her bangs in her hair. There's a stark shadow of where like the hair causes a hard shadow on her face from like caused by the light above. You know what I mean? So like by both of her eyes and how it goes over both of her eyes and like on her head and cheeks, and then her neck too. Obviously, there's like a contrast there to separate her neck from her body, which makes her head like protrude forward and seem more round. You know?
Right. But the hair itself, the hair shadow, it might be stark in contrast, but it's small in size.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because I think in this piece, like there's multiple light sources and they're of different varieties. So like there's probably some sort of ambient light that's diffused throughout the piece that's casting these like really soft shadows and stuff. And then there's probably like a more of a spotlight above, which is casting these more harder shadows like underneath her hair.
Well,
Maybe?
okay. So yeah, no, I see what you're meaning. Like there's a soft use light. So when you're the artist, like it's your choice of how you want to light the character, right? And it's like you light the character what you feel like is most beautiful, but also you want to do it in a way that's the most believable. So like I think we can all agree that the light source is above Rainbow Dash. Like to me, it looks like it's dang near centered right above her head.
Which
if you
would
want to
make
look at
sense.
the reflections. If you want to look at the reflection, if you want to look at the reflections in her eyes, you could say that's a little bit to the left, but normally when you're highlighting characters' eyes, you always put it to the left or right anyway, instead of directly in the middle because it looks weird because you don't want it to match up with the irises. But regardless, like the reflections in her hair and on the tops of her wings, and even like how like the chair is shaded and her face is shaded and like the shadows caused by her bangs, it makes it look like the light is like right above her head, you know, like centered in the scene. So like I said earlier, what that kind of does is it spotlights her. It puts her like on a stage almost and like has this light like shown like right down on top of her, which helps push forward this narrative of like her revealing herself, right? Or like herself being revealed as she looks into the mirror. So it's very like showy or play like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it also makes sense because like it's if somebody's working on your hair, you want to be able to see what you're doing, right? So it makes sense for a spotlight to be right above her hair. Anyway, yes.
A point that I wanted to make before we move on, it's very quick, is that Rainbow Dash is also on the left-hand side of the frame. If you notice, she's about on the 1/3 portion, so like everything's kind of pushed over to the left, so nothing's very centered in this. So it's kind of like playing with that rule of thirds concept. Her face too is also towards like the top 1/3, so it's a nice composition. And I was just gonna point that out, that you don't always have to center your character, even if it's like, oh, this character is being revealed and whatever. It's not like
pushing it off to those thirds make it a lot more appealing to your eye. Also, it makes it look more like a photograph, which I think was what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, so I like the composition of this. That's all I wanted to point out.
Okay, so I'm going to feature mine next, and mine is called Flares by Rain Gear. And it's a follow-up to another piece that I want to feature another time, so we won't talk about that one. But I wanted to just talk about this one because I really enjoy Rain Gear's pony style. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously a whole lot going on in this piece that I think is really awesome, but I wanted to point that out in particular because I don't think anybody else would have gotten to that. But I really enjoy his kind of like the semi-blocky like nose, the eye structure, like just the anatomy of his ponies, these large wings in this piece. It's something that really stands out to me as something I enjoy, something that he's improved on a lot over time. If you remember, I talked like a year ago about Assassin Monkey's ponies and how I wasn't a huge fan of the design of his, and he's improved a lot. Rain Gears was the same way. Wasn't a huge fan of his pony design. He's made huge strides, and now he's got really awesome and well done anatomy.
I think like not too long ago he redid a Rainbow Dash piece of his, and it's surprising the difference like in the pony style and just like how much of an improvement he's made on the anatomy and structure and like the lighting on the ponies.
Right.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of lighting, I love the lighting in this piece. All the fire and like all the like little ashes and stuff casting their own glows, and it's all like reflected back on Celestia and like the ground and everything. It's really well done.
This piece is just like really technically impressive, like between all the glows and the fire and like how bright everything is and how it bounces off everything else, and like underneath Celestia's wing is also particularly impressive. Mm-hmm.
And it's got a lot of analogous colors, so it's not monochromatic. although it's very close. I guess you could call it like what, dichromatic, in that it's yellow and orange.
I just call it analogous, very analogous, similar color scheme.
Yeah, and as people have probably noticed, I really, really love those pieces. When no other color kind of interferes, it's just this, the artist is playing with all of the different shades within this hue, within this small kind of hue band. And I love what artists can do when they explore all of the different shades that they can create. And this is an example of that.
It's also partly an illusion too, because you can only do so much when you have a monochromatic piece or a dichromatic piece, because like you are strictly bound to just two colors. But this piece uses like orange, yellow, and red, and violet, and then all the shades and blends and hues in between them as they like transition and blend. So you have violet and like a deep violet in the sky. You even have little parts of green outlining the buildings, and then like all the blends in between, like red, orange, yellow, like as they go in and out the character. So it kind of pushes away from that, like this is only a singular hue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. It's very the tips of the spectrum though that you're talking about are very subtle compared to the main middle of the piece, which is a bold orange and yellow.
A very strong point I've tried to make before is that there's these very strong colors, but the reason why they seem that way is because of how you use other more subtle and more desaturated colors around them within the piece. So there's very intelligent color use with the like desaturated violets, and like actually huge areas of violet that I'm seeing like on the left hand side and on the top and on the bottom, and all like framing and like in the vignette created too, that push forward these very vibrant like oranges and yellows. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even like on Celestia, like all of her shading's done in purple and violet, and even a little green on the wingtips, but you don't notice it because it's that whole like warm color, cool color contrast that like your eyes just really love so much, and you don't pick up on it because it's so subtle, and you get these like really bright oranges and yellows and stuff that really pop out, so they capture your attention first.
The subtlety's pretty great. I love the fact that this is like the Celestia version of Nightmare Moon. It's not. It's like the evil being locked away for 1,000 years Celestia. In my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
There's some sort of final form-esque thing here, isn't there?
I mean, I want to compare it to the other one, but we're not talking about that one today.
Yeah.
To the Lunar one.
So, like I really enjoy it. I like the scene that's depicted there. There's a lot of subtle things to do with the background. The silhouettes of buildings that look crumbled and fires that are being strewn and stuff like that. It's really cool. It helps set up in your mind this situation, the scenario that's happening, the scene. Without actually like boldly being like, look at the burning building! Can't you see stuff's going weird? Like it's much more subtle than that.
Yeah. The subtlety is pretty great. Also, Celestia's butt is burning up.
That's her tail.
No. Her cutie bark is all burned up.
Yeah, she's got like some lava thing going on there.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's her final form.
And her little feetsies are on fire.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, the flame booties?
Yeah.
They're definitely flame booties.
Flame booties.
It burned her booties and was like, ooh, her feet?
her booty's on fire?
The ponies don't have feet. That's fine.
The floaty cranny thing's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her accessories in this piece. We talked about. I talk about this when it comes to like character design, when it comes to OCs, like what makes a good OC design, and I enjoy the fact that Celestia is already quite a complicated character in terms of her design. She's got clothes that she wears in forms like tiaras and little booties and all that kind of stuff, and then she's also got like this multicolored hair and all this. So she's quite a complicated design. And what I feel like in this piece, Raingear has first simplified the design by making the hair less color, like less colorful and more one or two colors, and then kind of brought up the complexity with these additional accessories and these enhanced accessories.
And also turning the hair into flames.
Yeah.
Like that's a good point, because it's
Flame
he's
princess.
changed the color to like just a flame color instead of like the multiple hues that like Celestia's main is, but it's also like turned it into solid flames.
Yeah.
Right, but the colors are simplified, and that brings down the complexity, and then he brings it back up to a good level with like some additional things like that. I think this is to me, if we were to look at this as some sort of OC, this would be the tip of like, don't do any more than this, because if you do more than this, then you've got a bad character design. And I think, the story helps too. The fact that we know it's Celestia, even this I would look at and be like, if that's your OC, holy cow. Calm down there,
This is
designer.
pretty crazy. This is awesome.
Yeah. So the fact that we know it's Celestia, we already gather that it's like, okay, she's got the bib thing and she's got the shoes.
Still feel like, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the extra additions are kind of like her accessories on top of the ones he already
say
has.
something about that as well. I like that he's put that choker thing around her neck. Without that, her neck would just look way too big and out of place. With that thing there, it's still the same length, but you don't notice it.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I just like chokers, so I agree. I'll just nod and agree.
She did kind of go a little drafty there
Yeah.
without that.
But alicorns in themselves have really long necks.
Yeah,
They
but
do.
it's a
They
lot
do.
less noticeable with that her neck has been extended.
I can see that.
She's doing
Yeah.
that Applejack thing, the what?
On that God, no, I'm thinking of the gif. On that point though, of like, if this was an original character, I still feel like this is a strong original character too. Like if like this was for like an original world and it didn't have Celestia's cutie mark and instead had some kind of crazy flame rune or whatever, and like this was like this is a god of destruction or something in this like world that you're creating, I feel like it'd still be like really, really freaking good. Also the eyes, I'm gonna throw that out there because I know we're pushing on time. They look like cat eyes and they're really glowy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Yay. So I'm gonna actually forgo my piece that I brought today because I want to feature the other piece that Max was gonna bring up by Reindeer.
Oh, okay.
Because it's also really good. So we can talk about both pieces. I
We'll
guess,
just
and transition over.
subtly move into the next one to talk about reindeer stuff some more.
And so Ted, tell us about this piece.
So this is Luna doing the exact same thing, except not really burning down everything.
Well,
Yeah,
The
it's-
title hits by.
yeah, I was going to say, because I wanted to talk about this one before, it's Luna and Celestia doing the Nightmare Moon and Celestia thing, but reversed. Because Luna looks all happy and calm and relaxed, and Celestia's all, I'm going to burn all your stuff.
This is called The Wisps, by the way, by the same artist.
Yeah.
She's going to
Reindeer.
destroy everything you love.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I do, the Celestia piece was a continuation of this piece after this one was created because it garnered such positive, feedback and he enjoyed making it. But there really is two different vibes to these pieces. Like you were saying, there's a much more serious, like ultimate form sense to the Celestia piece, whereas in this one, this just kind of looks like Luna, and there's extensions of her character and her character design, right? Like the wispiness that comes out of her hair. Her hair is now not just hair; it's like it transitions from hair into smoke, right? And that smoke billows out.
Yeah.
But it's not quite to the same extent that Celestia was in, and I'm not sure if that was intentional by him or not.
It's definitely intentional because
Absolutely.
there's lots of different things. So like to point out a few, in the Celestia one, the reason why she looks so sinister is one, her expression. Like her eyebrows are furrowed, they're pointed down. Her eyes look like cat eyes, and like her head is even like kind of tilted down in a condescending
that's what
manner.
I was going to say.
And like then the narrative too, like in the background everything's like on fire and burning, and like fire in itself is a very sinister thing. And so like you have the character expression, the narrative, and then when you go back to Luna, like they're both smiling and kind of have like this little half smile, but Luna, she's now like her head isn't at such like a drastic angle, you can't see her eyebrows, so they're presumably like up in like a non-condescending manner, and her ears are even a little fluffy, which is a cute little touch. And then her hair isn't as menacing, it's kind of smoky, magic-y, like misty and mystical, and then has like space and solar systems and stuff.
It just goes to show you how important stuff is in creating expression. Even the small stuff, like, even though they have pretty much the same smile, the fact that Celestia is looking down makes her seem evil, whereas Luna's looking straight ahead. It adds to the expression. Even the small stuff, like, even though they have pretty much the same smile, the fact that Celestia is looking down makes her seem evil, whereas Luna's looking straight ahead. Makes her seem evil, whereas Luna's looking straight ahead. Celestia is looking is like I said, the eyebrows. The eyebrow thing is a big one, and
Also the pupils too.
the pupils. Celestia's are black, and Luna's are all white, and makes it look softer. And the thing that I always like to point out with villains, Celestia has a lot of angles and a lot of hard shading, whereas Luna doesn't. She's all round. There's no hard angles to be seen. She's got all the soft shading on her.
That's a good point.
I also had one more thing to add to that as well. Celestia has got foot forward on the ground as if she's just taken a step, leaning forward, right? Luna has got her foot up, and her body is tilted back, almost like she's taking a step back.
She's leaning back.
That's very dominant versus submissive.
Yeah.
And also, Celestia has all this armor on, and Luna does not have even her like normal show like bib that she usually has.
No Luna
like,
bib.
It leaves her very vulnerable and makes her
Lewd.
feel like yeah, I don't know.
What happens when she eats messy stroop waffles and she gets stroop crumbs everywhere?
Do you know what they are?
that's
The
pretty
soup waffles? We just found them in the
Yes.
supermarket like 2 days ago.
So stroop waffles were what Assassin Monkey handed out to us at BronyCon.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like a Dutch treat.
Brought
Yeah.
a huge box of Dutch stroop waffles and like handed them out. So.
We found them in the international food in the supermarket like 2 days ago, and that's all Danny's been eating.
They're really good.
Yeah, the little honey cake.
Yeah.
Thanks, Assassin Monkey. I enjoyed your stroop.
Yeah. So I also wanted to mention that there was an interesting effect on this piece where, we talk a lot about how to focus, or the different things that people do to focus your attention into the middle. And there's lots of examples of that, having the bright crown and centering her on the piece. But also, things around Luna are almost like blurred a bit. There's this weird shaky blur camera effect.
Yeah, it's in Celestia's piece a little bit too.
Yeah, but it's definitely much more pronounced in this piece. There's a jitter to the sides of the pieces if you take a look at the clouds on the left and right hand, and it makes it look a little bit out of focus. Whereas Luna herself, there's none of that. So that's kind of a cool way to draw your focus as well.
It's in the Celestia piece a little bit in the buildings where you notice it, but just in the buildings the most. And everywhere else it's very, very subtle. But in the Luna piece, yeah, it does stand out too. Even like on her flank, there's like a big blue line where it's like all blurred. But that blur is a very good way to direct focus, but also contrast and color. And Rain Gear, I feel like it's a very key to his style, where he loves to direct focus with extreme areas of color. So like in the Celestia one with the flame, and then here in the Luna one with the bright blue hair, and then Rain Gear's done a lot of like really awesome, extremely vividly, saturatedly lit pieces with bright color to actually like direct you where to look, and like he's really good with that.
What I find is interesting in the Luna piece is that, like you were pointing out before, it's a lot softer. Like the shading, the paint style, the Celestia piece is a lot like more precisely painted. Like you don't see brushstrokes as much as in the Luna piece, and yet like they both still draw the same amount of focus to the character. They're still equally well done. But I think like just that the fact that like it's a bit looser of a piece also kind of contributes to the fact that like I don't know, it's just not as imposing. Plus, Sorry, go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna point out the crown in Luna's piece is like casting this really, really bright white glow, like a very soft white, and I really like that touch.
Yeah. It kind of radiates like all over the top of her, almost acts as a spotlight.
Yeah.
Where there's so much drastic lighting in the Celestia piece that like everything's kind of softly lit by her flame. Where in the Luna piece, since it's a darker, it's more at night. The brightest point of light is that crown, and it makes it look like it is the light source, casting the light on Luna, like on her body and her wing, and then creating the shadows like on her flank and stuff.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I keep looking at the stuff that Rain Gear makes, and when we first saw Rain Gear stuff, I'm not sure if anybody else felt the same way, but I just had this like sense, when I saw it, it was like, okay, this guy's got something. There's potential here. There's something that he inherently gets about art, whether that be colors or composition or anything like that. There's huge potential here to become a really amazing artist. And I think it's been really, really cool to see his progression through the last couple of years. because, you know, as an amateur artist, he would make a lot of mistakes and there'd be a lot of things that, you know, weren't quite right. A lot of it was as like anatomy, right?
Or color and value, like we've been pointing out. Like, look at that Rainbow Dash piece that he made, where he had before and after. Like, holy cow!
Yes, but like, you know, there's a couple of art pieces that come out that I think really show off how, you know, talented he is and how much he just kind of inherently gets certain things. The one that we're all familiar with is, you know, the Cutie Art Crusaders balloon in the clouds, right? Like that one came out of nowhere for us and was spectacular from him. But there's a lot of stuff recently that gives me the same feeling, you know, like it really, these two pieces that we just featured are the same, like, here's where his potential lies, you know, like this is a realization of his potential as an artist. You know, these are standouts in his gallery for that. And so, you know, that's not really an analyzation of his art, but it's something that I wanted to say, and you know, hopefully he hears it. But even if he doesn't, you know, to anybody else, you know, Rain Gear is a guy you should be following because he's got huge potential.
All those points are still an analyzation of his art, because like art's all someone's inherent skill. Like, it's the journey they've done and it's what they've learned and it's what like their physical showing of their knowledge. So like analyzing like what you think he's doing well or not doing well is still an analyzation of his art, you know.
One last thing before we move on, if I can. I just wanted to say that we're really glad that he's back, because he did take a little bit of a hiatus, and he came back in full force with that piece of us, like, coming out at the screen. And he's been streaming a lot. I know I've been watching some of his streams, and he's been doing like really, really good stuff. So yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still flattered by that. But like the first thing that he made coming back was like us, like
That's super cool. All right. So the final piece, Joel, do you mind if you would introduce that?
Yep. Okay, so it's called Si Manifesta in Te. I have no idea what language. I think it's Portuguese, and I think it means it manifests itself.
I'll look it up.
I mean, I googled it. It translates to manifests itself in you in Portuguese, but I don't know if it's Portuguese or Spanish. And it's by Ordinarius. It's Applejack and Flutterbat hanging out in a room. Looks like a gothic type of room.
Yeah, gothic. I was gonna say it's very gothic.
Love the architecture.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Very detailed architecture in that building.
So, fun fact, one of the ways you can tell that it's gothic from other old Christian art forms like Byzantine or whatever is the fact that the top of those 4 arches above the characters are pointed. And yeah, fun fact.
I like facts that are fun.
Yeah.
Their cutie marks are all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like in the kind of like gothic architecture in that what I assume is a window. Not quite stained glass window because it's not stained, but definitely
There's
like maybe a
apples
stone or lead
and
glass
butterflies and what look to be butts.
So anybody, like, I was looking at the big circle, right? And I was like, I don't see any of their cutie marks. It's not, he means the stuff below.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now I see it. Now I'm on the same page.
Stuff below?
Well, like, okay, so like you got the big circle, right, in the window?
Yeah.
And then you've got the things coming up, like the vertical parts.
Yeah, those
and
4
like,
arches that I was talking about.
Yes, and they have the cutie marks with them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I was looking at the big circle because that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's like hearts and paisley.
Yeah, and butts. Like you said, it's butts.
They're hearts.
Yeah.
Butts.
Subsurface scattering.
I was gonna point that out immediately. That's really, really, really good work.
Oh my god, this piece is huge.
Isn't it, though?
It's been so small, and then I clicked on it. It was like, it's my whole monitor.
So for those who are just joining in this episode or haven't...
What? Why would you join at 49 minutes?
No. Like joining the Cutie Art Crusaders for episode 162.
Oh, okay.
Or haven't heard us mention subsurface scattering before.
Same page, go on.
What we mean is, if you look at Fluttershy's wings, they're basically semi-translucent, so you can see the light kind of filtering in through them, and the light is basically just refracting through her skin.
Yeah.
And it's really well done in this.
Yeah, it's translucent skin flaps. Like a bat wing.
So the light diffuses through her flesh and also changes color because it's going through that substance, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And you can actually tell a little bit places like in the window, like it's like casting a shadow like through her wing. Very nice touch.
Exactly.
Sorry, I just think the word flaps is funny.
Lips.
I'm actually. So I have been generally not necessarily disappointed, but surprised in like a kind of disappointed way that there is not more art of Flutterbat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought people would jump all over that and just like devour it like they do Luna or like they do Violent Scratch and Octavia.
There was a fair bit.
Peak. I feel like of all the little kind of weird things that came out of it was season 4, right?
Yes.
That like Flutterbat was one of the things that spawned the most response in fan art.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed to peak a lot, and then it kind of petered out, and now it's just kind of like occasionally
there
I
was
see
definitely
it.
a hype for it, but like as the hype went away, it kind of like died down.
I expected the hype to kind of like not go away as much, you know. I expected it to be the next like Octavia and Vinyl Scratch, which people still commission like out the booty to get, you know. So.
But also there's like quality like Flutterbat art too, because I feel like Saoshin was that one where I said like that's the best, but like this one's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like this is a really cool rendition of especially like Anthro Flutterbat, which I haven't seen a lot of, and it's kind of like this cool gothic-ish again, but in a different sense of gothic, like Anthro Flutterbat with like her cool skull choker and then like necklace and then like leather wrapped. Like,
I mean, they might bring it back. They brought
buckles.
Flutterguy back.
Yeah, they did bring me back.
They brought back Flutterbat for episode 100.
Did they?
Yeah, in those
they
5
did
frames
too.
when she bit their foot.
There was like 2 frames, but
Also in
She bit
the Lunar Dream episode with the Tantabus.
That's what we're talking about.
Not the episode 100.
Oh, whoops! Sorry, I said episode 100.
She was. There was no.
You're right. It was the Tantabus. Yeah, I wanted to. You know, the Anthro style is really interesting. I'm not a fan of the hand plus hoof thing.
I was just gonna say I like it in this one. I like it in this one. Like I'm actually a fan of that Anthro take on what is it? Not I was gonna say anthropology. Wrong word. Anatomy. There we go. But I like Applejack's little hoof boots. I think they're cute.
Hoof boots.
Like it's hit or miss with me in pictures, but I really like the way that they're done in here.
I dig it. It's like, because like anthropomorphizing is that whole like half human, and so like actually to physically make them like have half human features and half kind of like animal features.
No,
I think it's cute.
the cylindrical legs thing kind of weirds me out a little. If you're gonna,
they look like stumps.
Hands, make feet. If you're gonna be making
so like here's the deal, right? I look at Flutterbat and I'm like, that's the perfect level of Anthro for me, right? It's because I can't see her hoof legs, right? So like Applejack is great, and like for the record, if the artists listen to this or other people who are going to be influenced by our opinions, are listening to this, like for the record, this is a preference of mine. So don't change your Anthro style because one's better or not.
Yeah,
you know, like it's a preference.
But if you are thinking about it, then you can take my opinion, which is I like it. So there you go.
No, don't.
Take my opinion.
We can't take your opinion. You kept your hair that you cut off.
We equaled each other out.
It's true. Don't take opinions from someone who cut off his hair and kept it for his kids.
You don't. First off, my mother did. She's the one who kept it, and how dare you use that as a stab to like make my opinions lesser because I have creepy hair things.
So look, you know how you cut off your hair, right? It looks like she cut off her feet.
Yeah.
But she's missing the fact that she has no legs makes her better. So the fact I have no hair makes me better.
No. I said that's the opposite. It's worse because it's weird and stumpy.
Oh, you're talking about Applejack. I thought you were talking about Flutterbat. No. First off, this conversation's weird and stupid. You're stupid. You're a jerk for judging me for my hair. And second off, I like the fact of like half anthro, half hoof, or hand, whatever the heck. Blech. Moving on, something else.
I like the lighting. Let's talk about the lighting because I really enjoy when pieces have the guts, have the chutzpah to light stuff from behind.
Right. It's chutzpah.
I said it the exact same way.
You didn't. You said chutzpah. It's chutzpah.
You're right. You know how I should have pronounced it? Bali. All right.
The avocados.
So yeah, I like how it's lit from the back and you've got characters in a shadow, but it's also interesting because the characters aren't really that much in shadow. Maybe it's just because all of them is in shadow, so there's not much of a difference to tell between like the ones that are lit and not lit. But it seems like they're in shadow, but only slightly.
It's backlit, like it's definitely backlit. The light's coming from behind them, but it almost looks like if you take, if you, for example, imagine you're a camera, it looks like there's a bit of a soft lighting coming from behind the camera. A little bit, just to give them a bit of color, otherwise they'd be completely black.
Definitely. So, like, when you're looking at lighting like this, you have to look at what's the brightest source of lighting or what's the brightest thing in the art piece. And, like, that's the window. That's the light behind them, right? So, in comparison, in comparison to the light behind them, they are very dimly lit. Like, they are very desaturated in comparison to how bright the light source is in the piece. And so the artist obviously knows that and has used that to his advantage to, like, make them more dimly lit or whatever, and then has put that very bright, like, silhouette on, like, the backside of on the back hair and wing and stuff of Flutterbat. So, like, there's definitely that strong juxtaposition. And also the shadows that are created on, like, underneath the couch and stuff, you can definitely tell. And so then it causes that bright light hitting the room, causes diffuse lighting to reflect off surfaces and stuff to light the characters, physically. That's how physics would work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and there's the whole, like, fact that, it's exposed to, so that you see the characters and not what's outside. So what's outside is just pure white.
Yeah,
but the
because
characters are...
The exposure, right? Exposed and exposure. Yeah, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, we do kind of have to wrap up. I know that, Joel, you had something to talk about in terms of how you came to feature this art piece in the first place, right?
Yeah. So, Deviant has a thing where you can tag, like, you can mention somebody's name, like doing the :dev name, whatever, and that person gets a notification that your name has been said. Nazi Goring, who is a friend of ours, has been doing that for the Cutie Art Crusaders account, and that's how I found this. So she saw this and then thought, this is pretty great. I'm going to let them know. And she tagged us in the comments. And then
because she's awesome.
Yeah, because she's awesome. And I was logging in one day and I saw this and I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm going to feature it on the show. So that's open to everybody. So anybody can do that. If you see an art piece that you think, that's pretty great, I think the Cutie Art Crusaders would like this, what you can do is on DeviantArt, if you've got an account, and you can comment in the comments and just do :dev Cutie Art Crusaders :
or icon,
either way. A colon gives dev just puts in the name and the icon puts in the picture of us. Either way, we get a notification, and then next time I log into the account, I can see that and I go, hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll feature it on the show. So it's an easier way, rather than having to email it to us. You can do that.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know how to do that system, the commands, quote unquote, will be on the screen for how you can do that. But we would encourage people, if you want us to see certain art pieces, like Nazagoring does occasionally, she will tag us in something if she thinks that it would be something that would be interested in featuring. And, we will look through those and eventually get around to them if one of us decides to feature it. So that option is definitely open for people, and we would love it if people would do that. So, if you want to do that, then that's cool with us. And that's a thing that you can do to get art directly to us.
Yeah, and that's
also,
quick and easy, takes 3 seconds.
I know we kind of stopped talking about their piece, but I've been staring at it while we've been talking. Like, do
And
you
it's
guys
been
see the
staring back
couch?
at you.
Like, do you realize they have been looking into my soul? Do you realize how technically impressive the couch is
right?
and like that table?
The amount
I
of
know.
work I've done into
Like,
it.
wow.
the bowl that's holding up the apples, so intricate.
Like the reflective lighting on the bottom of it too. Like,
Yeah.
oh my.
Seriously, go look at this piece if you aren't already
In
looking at it.
full,
like, in
gigantic, huge detail.
Yeah. Also, one last thing, I totally ship it.
Do you?
Yeah. No,
I was about
it's true.
to get mad at you because you were putting in one last thing after we've already done 3 one last things.
Yeah, well,
but whatever. It's good
Yeah.
enough.
Guys, one
I
last
appreciate
thing.
That Flutterbat is wearing bright red.
Yeah, one last thing. How about the plugs?
That's what I was going to do.
There you go.
Hey.
All right, so we have
Well, now.
a few places you can find us. We have a Picardo channel, Cutie Art Crusaders on Picardo. We are cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. We are cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com if you want to email us. youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders is where you can watch all of our episodes. cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com. Facebook.com/cutieartcrusaders and @cutieartcrusade without the RS because Twitter is silly.
Cool. Well, that is everything for this week, guys. As you'll notice, we have foregone the questions because we just babbled too much at the beginning about anime.
Yeah, I'm calling this one
but-
Unquestionable.
Yeah.
It's fine. Good anime discussions can
Yeah.
forego questions.
We had good
questions are a commodity.
privilege.
Is a wrong word.
No, they're not a right. So yeah, we'll probably bring that. Well, Joel and I will bring back the questions next week, and we'll talk about a
Questions
couple
are
things
filler.
like that.
That sounds like
So yeah.
not a necessity.
No, people like I like
Yeah,
the
I like the
questions, and other
questions.
people like the questions
doesn't
too.
like
They're
the
not just
question.
filler. Burnderman
I'm
Jones.
glad everyone would like to know what my favorite rock is.
It's
Thanks.
Speaking of,
okay. Well, look, I didn't pick that question for the record. I wasn't there for that.
Son
I'm just taking
sent
stabs.
me about 3 notes on DeviantArt talking about rocks. So thanks for that.
Hey.
People like the questions. So,
Yeah.
People like
anyways, there's no questions this week.
Mm.
We don't care what you like. But yeah, so
Made that apparent.
we'll do those. We'll do those next week.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't think there's anything else that we need to talk about. Is there?
I've been streaming. Go check me out.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Ted's been
Self-plugging.
streaming with a bunch
I
of
meant
people.
not like a
With
self-plug.
Vice.
I meant like a Cutie Art Crusaders thing that we needed to say.
No.
I have a bunch of art like commissions I've received that'd be super cool to talk
So,
about.
like,
Yeah.
guys, when's Pony coming back again? It's soon.
September 26th.
Yeah, something like
September
that.
Shrug?
I was thinking about the spoiler cast, but look, we got nothing.
No.
Look, stop listening. I don't know why you're still listening to this. We're just blathering on at this point.
Say
So,
hi
but
to
thank you.
Bernadette EQLA.
But thank you for listening and watching. Whether or not you're on Picarto or on YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name's Burned.
I'm Flutterguy317.
And I'm at Spark.
And Joel and I will see you guys
Next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.